the Christmas holiday.
Thank you so much, Amy. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Once again, I would like to thank both organizations. Mr. Vizelli? Council,
Madam Mayor.
please take roll call.
Councilmember Hilst,
Here.
Phillips,
Here.
Fletcher,
Here.
Hoheimer,
Here.
oh, sorry, Nutter,
Here.
Abel,
Here.
and Mayor Burris.
Here. Having a quorum, we will conduct business. Chair would now entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that tonight's agenda be approved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Fletcher and second by Mr. Abel. Any comments, questions, or concerns about the agenda? Seeing none, council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes, please.
Madam Mayor, I move that the City Council regular meeting minutes of August 25th, 2025 be approved.
Second. Motion made by Mr. Nutter and second by Ms. Hoheimer. Any comments, questions, or concerns about the minutes from August 25th? Seeing none, council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. We have now come down to item number 5, which is public input. Anyone wishing to have their voice be heard, please come to the podium. Make sure that the mic is on. State your name, and a reminder, you have 5 minutes.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Yep, Matthew Johnson. So I normally don't talk about the airport simply because it's just one of those things out there that taxpayers, we just have to deal with because of the federal rules associated with airports and how they're just dealt with. But I did, this situation with the motorhome brought forth a bunch of questions that just, I think, need answered based on what was said at the last council meeting. So at the last council meeting, it was said that that motorhome's a tool. And it's like, okay, well, that's the first question. Can we get clarity on that? Is it truly, really a tool? Because if it is, then it's no different than any other city-owned asset, like the trucks we buy and whatnot. You know, and then the questions just kind of fall from there. When did that come before the council for purchase? I couldn't find it. I went back to around 2020, around August when COVID kind of hit, because I thought maybe that's when we would have bought that, but I couldn't find it. So can we get clarity on if we bought it, and then basically how much did taxpayers pay for it? And then, does the city really own the title?
Mayor, just Mr. Johnson, so we don't go down
Okay.
a deep rabbit hole, then we'll keep your time. The city doesn't own it. That's owned by the company. It's a tool for the company. Terragon, the city does not own the motorhome. It's a tenant of the airport, Terragon.
Okay. All
So it's a tool they use
So they
when they
own
go
it.
to air shows and everything.
I was just
So-
going to let him have his 5 minutes, sorry, but yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for that. That clears all that up. In regards to the 7.1 tonight, you're dealing with basically two different taxing bodies here. You know, obviously the city of Pekin has their taxing levy on the tax bill, and then you have District 303. when you read through that, it really just reads like you're double dipping. District 303 is taking the director and another person to go help figure out how to transition the school buses, and that's fine, but taxpayer money is all taxpayer money, so just have District 303 pay them, and don't launder money from one taxing body to another taxing body just to pay those two individuals.
That's an
I
accusation.
don't believe you should say laundering money.
Definitely.
I'm sorry, I realize this is your time, but that is not proper here.
Okay.
Doesn't he have the First Amendment right?
No, it's fine, it's fine. It's just a Freudian slip. Move money, how about move money? Move money.
Thank you.
Shouldn't move money from one district to another. It was a Freudian slip, I'm sorry,
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Appreciate that.
That's not my intention here.
I appreciate
just have
that.
I just have questions.
I'm going to give you a few more seconds.
No,
I
it's-
appreciate that.
It's fine. It's fine. And for what it's worth, just so his name is never forgotten, I really like to, it's nice to see suicide prevention or awareness on the agenda for September. I do think it's actually more important than just September, but it's nice to recognize it. Justin Morrissey was his name. He was my cousin. He was a twin to his brother John. He was a United States Marine Corps. He was a Caterpillar employee. He was a father, husband, and he's truly missed. In 2015, he felt there was no way out, so he decided to end his life. And that certainly riddles your family to no end. Suicide is certainly not the answer. There's tools, there's resources out there, my phone number, and I'm just speaking to anybody at this point, in that if you need help, my phone number's always out there. It's easy to find. Call me. I always answer random numbers I don't know because they're always enjoyable conversations. So I truly miss my cousin Justin, and suicide, it doesn't take the pain away. It just shifts it to people who love you. Thank you. And sorry.
Mr. Johnson, I am sorry, and that is, that it touched your family. I apologize. Anyone else from the public wishing to have their voice be heard?
Yes, my name is Roger Greer, and I live at 601 Prince Street, which was formerly the place on Prince in the Preno Nursing Home. I do agree with the previous person. Suicide is a terrible thing that's happening. I also want to remind people that veterans are 50% more likely to take their lives than the general population. My son, Ryan Greer, who I'm very proud of, he wanted to be just like his father, and he joined the Navy at 17 and took an oath to defend the United States Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. He was a field corpsman from the Marines. The first time he was called into action to exercise his skills of field corpsman, he called me the next day and told me about it. He said he had volunteered to go with a German battalion because they didn't have a field corpsman to go with their troop. He was the only American serving under their officer. He was in an armed Humvee, he said, because usually they protect the corpsman like a hive protects their queen. Because the rest of the troops know if the corpsman's injured, who's going to administer that first aid to them? So normally he would ride in an armored Humvee, never get out during their patrols. But that particular day, there was a loud explosion. Suddenly, they open the door of the armored Humvee and they tell my son in broken English to run and help their fellow comrade. Without hesitation, my son ran to administer first aid to that person. He told me, Dad, both of his legs were blown off. One of his arms was completely missing. I am so glad I didn't freeze up because it was the first time I actually had to use my skills in actual combat. And he said, Dad, I had to actually take my helmet off, my metal helmet, and knock that man's buddy unconscious to make him let go of his friend's stump because I couldn't administer the tourniquet without doing that. I'm so glad that I didn't freeze up and I was able to do my job. I am so proud of him. He rendered first aid to countless men, blown up, arms, limbs. He can't begin to remember the number of soldiers coming out of the Humvee with ears out of blood coming out of both their ears. Yeah, we put armor under them Humvees, but you know what the Taliban did? They just made bigger bombs under the Humvees. Big enough they would blow the Humvee 20, 30 feet in the air, and then we wonder why all of our veterans come back with scrambled eggs for brains. This concussion syndrome. And shortly after my son got home, we were working together. I said a criticism to him about some plumbing we were doing together. Next thing I know, he's got me in a submission hold like the Marines taught him to the point of my unconsciousness. Once he came to his mind and let go of me before my death, I asked him, "Son, who are you? What happened?" He said, "Dad, I've killed for less." I said, "What do you mean you've killed for less?" I shot a 10-year-old boy, and he told me his name. I can't remember it because it was in whatever language they speak. "What do you mean you shot a 10-year-old boy?" He said, "Dad, they would send their 10-year-old boys at us with backpacks. They're pregnant women. One day it'd be a bomb, next day it'd be a teddy bear. They only played that kind of mind games with it." And he said most of the time, if we didn't shoot him, they shot him anyway and blamed it on us. No-win situation. So that particular day, it was my turn to shoot that 10-year-old boy running at us with a backpack. And it had a teddy bear in it. And he went to proceed to say, "Dad, we were on the other side, we were on the wrong side of that war." I said, "Son, I'm sorry you went there. I'm so sorry you went there. Osama bin Laden is a pussy," I told him. "Because the day your dad sends his 10-year-old son out to battle, I'm a pussy." And I told him, if I were commander-in-chief, I never would have sent you there. Russia couldn't tame that place. Why in the hell did we think we could when they were right next door?
Mr. Greer, I'm sorry, your 5 minutes is up. I'm sorry to hear your story. I'm sure a lot of us can tell a story like that, myself included. And I am sorry to hear this of your son. I'm sure he suffers every day. But your 5 minutes is up.
I'm sorry
Thank
that
you.
my son's sacrifice is only worth 5 minutes of your time, Mayor. I'm truly sorry.
I
I
apologize.
regret signing him up at 17 to defend your rights. I really do.
I don't appreciate you telling them, talking about me that way. Thank you.
I appreciate you thinking my son isn't worth 5 minutes of this people's time. He told me after that, he said, "Dad, don't..."
Chair would entertain a motion for item number 6, consent agenda.
Any other public input?
Excuse me. Any other, sorry, thank you. He got,
5 minutes to me? I can go on all night.
anyone else from the public wishing to have their voice be heard? Hello, Elaine. How are you? Good.
I am here, first of all, I got a phone call because I was asked to find out what's going on.
No.
Something's being built behind the Dollar General store, and they kind of was curious what it was. I didn't know, so I couldn't answer it. Also behind the 4-H building in the park. I told them I would ask, and if any of you know,
Well, it is Park, do you want me to speak? This is your 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, you can.
It is Park District, Mr. Nick, or Mr. Dossi?
In the park, that is the solar project, the park's completing, and behind Dollar General, that is the staging area for Court Street.
Oh, good. Now I can tell them. I know.
There you go.
Also, I would like to give thanks to the Fire and the Pekin Police Department. My grandson was in an accident on 8th Street. A car ran into him, and it caught fire. It caused the back end of his truck to catch fire. He ran into the car in front of him. He had just paid his truck off. That was his baby. Put brand-new tires on it, had washed it that day, and he is also a tow truck driver for Joe's Towing. So they was looking for the driver of the truck, and he's out there cleaning the debris up with the other firemen and the police officers. But the firemen and the police officers was wonderful to him, and I want to say a special thanks to all of those fellas that assisted in that. Also,
Elaine, thank you. I don't think that the police and fire get enough thanks. So thank
They
you from the
don't.
bottom of my heart and each and every one of them.
They
Thank
don't
you.
understand what the police and fire actually go into, and they don't get enough recognition. They go into multiple situations, and I thank them every day, and I pray for their safety
Thank you.
because they deserve it. I would also like to say thank you for the street department. I had bubbles coming up through my, not bubbles, sewer gas or something coming up that was burping in my sink. And I called street department. They was out Friday. And of course, the guys had to work overtime, and they said, "Hey, thanks, Elaine." I said, "No problem."
And that's not a pleasant smell
And
I've had.
you know what? They was out there today, and they was working on it today, and I want to thank them because I haven't smelt no more sewer coming through the drains. They are addressing it. But then, my daughter-in-law had called me, and she said down on Henrietta and 2nd Street, they're having the same problem. So they may want to go down there and address that, because I told her they have helped me. So I want to give a lot of thanks to the street department, all the workers, police and fire, and everybody that has assisted the families and everything. Thank you very much.
Elaine, thank you. That means a lot to our staff, to build morale in the city, from fire, from police, from street department. Thank you.
You know,
Thank you.
Mayor, it meant a lot to me when I worked here,
I'm sure it did.
to have a mayor come up to you and tell you, "Hey, thanks, you're doing a great job."
Or how about-
That little pat on the back.
Yep, yep.
Made you want to do more. And that's what these people need to know more. They need to know that they are appreciated. If you're walking down the hall, tell them thanks.
Or how about the police chief calling you Buffy?
Yes,
Because you were constantly buffing the floors.
that was always, I will always, and my license plate still says Buffy.
There you
1.
go.
So I honor that. So, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate
You'll
you.
always be Buffy, Elaine.
That's right. I'm sorry, I got a little carried away, but anyone else wishing to have their voice be heard?
Good evening.
Good evening.
How's everybody doing?
You know, after the marigold, marvelous.
Good. So my name is John McNish, and, I had to take my wife to a doctor's appointment out there at East Court Village, and I was waiting on her to come out, and I was looking up, and I was like, those new buildings over there look bright, and they look nice. So, yeah, East Court Village is looking good for that, So, with that being said, I'd like to start out this with a quote that came from a council meeting on June 9th of 2025. We, as a municipal government, are bound to follow our own laws. Now, I have a few topics I would like to mention, and as always, I'm available for discussion at any time. The first thing is something that's very important to me, the workman's comp log. Okay? The issue is, there's way too many claims on it, and I can, without a shadow of a doubt, say these claims that were created by safety incidents, and they could have been prevented. Zero is possible in the safety community if all hands are responsible for the safety. All hands are responsible for the safety of others and employees. Bottom line. For example, a rock in an eye. Was the individual wearing proper and approved PPE? I personally have seen and have videos and pictures of employees cutting concrete without any type of PPE. And this was after they were standing in a hole within inches of a bucket on a mini excavator without PPE. I have pictures and videos. So if you tell me it doesn't happen, it does. A solution. That's an issue, I have a solution. Have a public safety commission or a committee that can look at safety incidents and help report the root cause. Put some risk mitigation factors in place to help prevention in the future or from this happening again. When these incidents come about, you remove all identifying factors, no names, no one, nothing, it's just an incident, it's just a safety incident. And you get some brain people together, you sit down and talk about, hey, what can we do to make sure this doesn't happen again, to help reduce the cost? You know who does that? Companies like Ameren, ComEd, Caterpillar, Komatsu, John Deere, all the big companies do that. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about, attorney cost. They're creeping up again. Okay, we're not seeing the savings that were or are expected. Maybe it's time to take a look at their cost again and follow the code and have the council approve the contract and have the mayor sign it. I know Mr. Dawsey has the authority to hire a city attorney. We know that, it's there, he can hire a city attorney. But the way I believe it reads is the attorney is for the city's legal department that we don't have. And he does not have the authority to contract an attorney, although he has the authority to hire one for the city's legal department that I don't even think we have anymore. Okay, the next thing, the Ludekin property.
Awesome.
The expansion is moving pretty fast. I was wondering, Madam Mayor, since you get a little excited and giddy
I
up there
am.
about
Thank you.
that. When are those stakeholders and residents, when are we going to get together? Was there or will there be an invite or what? How are we handling that? I'm hearing a lot of that planning and discussion has been ongoing and planned with special interest groups. Can we even fish that lake? I know I used to fish it when I was a kid. Can we fish it now? I mean, it's public property. Why not, right? So those are some of my questions about the Ludekin property. Okay, the audits. I'm beginning to think the individuals that have been working on or getting these audits caught up, they were probably a dairy farmer or something in their previous lives because they sure are milking it. It's taken an awful long time.
That's
It
not
really
even
is.
funny.
It's funny. It's one of the best dad jokes I got. I guarantee it's funny.
I'll
And-
give
and
you a
later you'll
comment in
laugh about
15
it.
seconds here.
Later, you'll laugh about it. So we just need to get those back up to speed. And 7.1, questions,
10 seconds, sorry.
are these two individuals, are they going to be doing any work for Pekin Community High School District 303 while they're on city time?
Your time is
Because
up.
that opens
sorry.
up a whole bag of worms.
Okay, your time is up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Fasali, no? You good? Yes. Anyone else from the public? No.
My name's Roxy Dwyer. I'm a taxpayer here in Pekin, and I have, both properties are two corner lots. And I don't know why you have ordinances, and you passed one, I'm not sure when, that if you have a corner lot, you have no backyard. All you have is two front yards. I can't change the way the land is. And we've been fined because of your ordinance. And on the fines, if we don't pay the fines, and I don't agree with the ordinances you passed, but I'm one of the many taxpayers. And on that fine, it says you can foreclose and put a lien on my property. What I paid for, I pay property taxes for, and you can take it away from me. My great-grandfather came from Germany in the 1800s because the Tsar was burning down his barn. He came to the United States of America, land of the free, home of the brave. And I think he'd be appalled if he knew his great-granddaughter would lose her house because the city of Pekin could take it away from him because of the fines and the liens on the property, because I have no backyard. I'm sorry, I got a yard at 601 Prince that goes from Prince Street all the way to Park Avenue. And I have some other property that is a corner lot. And when I bought the property, there was no sign on there that said that the city could fine me if I put anything in the backyard. So, me and my husband are going around with a petition, trying to get your citizens of Pekin to sign it, to vote to get rid of home rule in the city of Pekin. Because I feel home rule has caused a lot of problems in Pekin. Pekin has not grown since you've had home rule. Now, you guys have the power to put it on the ballot, so I don't have to walk door to door to get your citizens. You represent the citizens. You should be able to put it on the ballot and say, if I represent the citizens of Pekin, they should have the right, if they want the same government they have now, that can put all these ordinances and fines, or if they want a government that is for the people. And like I said, I shouldn't have to go door to door, but I'm going to have to get all these signatures, because I will admit the city of Pekin had a good turnout for the presidential election. So I have to get 1,400 signatures. I have to get more, because there's a lot of the signatures that probably don't vote in Pekin. But we tried this one other time, and the city of Pekin did not want to get rid of home rule. And they got rid of more signatures, and we couldn't get it passed. And that was 14 years ago. And 14 years ago, I said to the mayor at that time, I said, this road to nowhere, what is this road around the city? It's supposed to get to 474. I said, I'm from central Iowa, and when I was driving, they took Highway 30 out of the towns and put them outside the towns. Those towns, you go back there now in that part of the central Iowa, and they've deteriorated, and they've gone downhill because of the road around the city, because they don't go through the city anymore. Now, you want another exit to 474, and I know you got a long ways to go, but you do have, Pekin has an exit that says Pekin, 474. Broadway, there's a sign on Interstate 155, Pekin. There's a sign on Queenwood, Pekin. There's a sign on I-55 that says to Pekin by Tremont. How many more signs do you want to get to Pekin? And will it make Pekin grow? Your population sign of 30,000 has not grown in the whole time. I've been here 15 years.
I've been here 50.
Okay, has it grown?
No, but it hasn't really deteriorated a ton.
Well, so you haven't grown. I'll have to admit,
So
I worked at Caterpillar.
what was being done wasn't working, so we're changing things up.
Well, I hope.
I'm sorry, I'm taking your time.
I hope for your sake it worked. But we came here, I want to tell you all this. I came here from Memphis, Tennessee. Caterpillar had a facility there, and we were looking at houses. And you know what that realtor told me? This was back in 1981. Stay away from Pekin. Do not go to Pekin, because the values of your homes will, I assume it's because of the values of the homes. And you know how real estate agents, the more your home's valued. But Pekin has not grown. Morton, I moved in Morton at 9,000 people. It's over 17,000. Look at East Peoria. Those two towns are not home rule. Look at Peoria.
They're not big enough.
If you look at the videos, oh, sorry. If
Yeah.
you look at the videos, the
Your time
worst
is up.
towns
I'm
in
sorry.
Illinois are
Your time is
home
up.
rule.
Thank
But
you.
Thank you for your time.
You bet. I do, is there any other comments or someone wishing to have their voice be heard from the public? I'm sorry. Okay, I do want to answer Mr. McNish. When I was campaigning, I was the first one to bring up, why aren't the audits done? There was people that were on the council that were running, never heard anything till I brought it up. I am very proud of where we came just these last 2 years with the audits. We are close to being caught up. I think you can speak to Mr. Grogan about that. So I just wanted to fill you in on, yes, we have tirelessly worked on getting the audits caught up, and I'm very proud of that. So thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
Eric can give a quick update.
Eric, thank you. I'm sorry, he's been the one working on it, so yes,
thing.
you as well.
So all materials for the FY '23 have been submitted. We did have a little bit of bump in the road because of the grants and capital projects. Capital projects is smooth. Everything's submitted. I just reached out to the auditors today, and so they're slated by the end of September. They're going to complete all their work on '23, and we're anticipated to get a first draft by the end of October.
And 24 is ready to be turned in.
Once we wrap up with
Yeah,
23.
23,
and then
yeah.
we're gonna go
That
through
has
the
to be done
24.
first. I do understand that with working for audits for so many years. Thank you very much for that update. Yes,
Can I ask a quick question on
Mr.
that?
Hills.
So you said the one that's going to be available or finished in September is FY '23?
Yes, we're going to get the draft back for '23 in October, and then we'll go into '24.
So has FY '22 been turned in to the Illinois Comptroller's Office?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
There we go. How's that for getting caught up? I appreciate that, Eric. Mr. Dabrowski, I apologize, I didn't say your name first. And as for the road to 474, it's not a road to 474. It is 474 connecting to the city of Pekin. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I'm promoting it, and I'm going to promote it that way. Thank you. Public input is now closed. Chair would entertain a motion for item 6, which is the consent agenda.
Madam Mayor, I move that the consent agenda be approved. 6.1, accounts payable paid proof list through August 29th, 2025. 6.2, building department permit report, August 2025. 6.3, Pekin Fire Department monthly incident report, August 2025. 6.4, receive and file emergency procurement for emergency demolition of 219 Hamilton Street following a structure fire. 6.5, proclamation, Pekin Area Chamber of Commerce Week. 6.6, proclamation, Knights of Columbus Intellectual Disabilities Week. 6.7, proclamation, Suicide Awareness Month.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Abel and second by Ms. Phillips. Any questions, comments, or concerns about the consent agenda? Don't you guys love these new mics? You can hear so much better. Did you have something you wanted to say? I apologize. All right. Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. Chair would now entertain a motion for item 7, which is new business.
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt resolution number 339-2526, memorandum of understanding between the City of Pekin and Pekin Community High School District 303.
Second?
Motion made by Mrs. Phillips and second by Mr. Abel. Mr. Dossi, I'm going to turn this over to you, please.
Thank you. As the city of Pekin is transitioning away from the bus transportation service, Pekin High School District 303 has retained our director and assistant director of the bus department to assist with the transition on their end. Because staff will be doing significantly the same work for both sides, it was determined that Pekin High School District 303 and the city of Pekin have a memorandum of understanding compensating the staff handling the transition. The attached MOU accomplishes that, and staff is recommending approval. And just to address some concerns from Mr. Johnson, precisely what his concern was it's significantly the same work. So how are we going to determine your time for the high school, your time for the city? In talking with the superintendent and with our staff, we felt that an MOU where they were to give us a payment for the retention would offset that, so they could just focus on the transition over to the school district. The majority of the work's on the city's end right now, as far as everything going there, and then once the transition takes place, they would transition over to the high school probably the latter part of the summer of next year. Right now, the only things they're going to be doing is closing out for instance, the school buses. We're no longer going to be leasing those. They would maybe work with the high school on the transition over there, transferring everything over into their name. The drivers, when they do that, they would be probably part of the hiring process of that. So we felt like structuring it in a retention bonus to close it out on our end would probably be the cleanest way to do it. So we're not trying to figure out, well, 2 hours here and 4 hours there and it's never going to work. So it was just easier just to pay a lump sum into the city. We would divide it up as a retention at the end of the school year in '26. If they're still here in good standing, we would break it out and we would pay it in that fashion.
Okay. Any questions from council? Mr. Fletcher?
Can you tell me how you arrived at the figures? That one gets 4,500 and one gets 5,500?
I'll ask Bob a little bit. We worked on that, but one is the actual director, the higher rate, and then the other's more the assistant.
So did you figure how many hours that this was going to take and then kind of divided it? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, so to be clear, we're talking about eventually giving, it's a retention bonus, right? Because, we had the same issue when we were doing the Teamsters contract for the general unit. As you're winding a form of service down, we have a big risk if somebody goes and says, hey, I just got a great job offer, 3 months to go, and then they leave, which obviously is their right. They're not serfs. So we want to have that incentive on the back end that they finish through a completed date. And that's why we structured the Teamsters contract with that retention bonus that only comes if you stay through to the end. So that really was the driving force. Was we were going to have to be looking at, even if they weren't hired on by the schools, if they were not hired on by the schools, we had to make sure that we gave them an incentive that they stayed through to the end and didn't just take that other job or have the incentive to go out and look for something else. So, and as far as the amount, we looked at it relative to what we were offering the school bus drivers, relative to, their pay versus theirs, overall compensation, that it was in line. We sort of did that sort of sniff test around that it was not ridiculously smaller or ridiculously larger, comparable to the overall compensation package.
So
Are you
you
good with that?
looked at it and figured about how much time it would take, I would take, for the transition that this person would have to do extra? Yes or no?
No.
This is just a bonus
No.
for them to stay
No.
through it?
It was
That's all
more,
is.
it was more of it's about the retention bonus level. We acknowledge that it's a complete unknown as to how much time, as far as that they're going to be doing school work, or stuff that's directly only to that bus department, or to the school district, right? See, they work with the school district anyway.
Right.
Right? Now, we don't, to be clear about our contract with the school districts, we don't get reimbursed, for instance, so you don't have the elementary school reimbursing us for the supervisor's time, right? We have a flat fee relative to that part of the contract. So overall, they're just paying whatever they're paying. And if those salaried people, the two people that are the management, they could put in 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, and as a salary person, you're not punching a clock.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So really what it was we were looking at, regardless of their hiring status afterwards, that we were needing to do a retention program. And then in discussion with the high school, saying, well, there is going to be some, we should be getting some extra compensation from them because this is definitely outside of the contract
Right.
that we have with the schools. It was thought that, whatever our retention program would be, that they would be covering that for these individuals.
So I just want you to understand that we're kind of looking at it two different ways.
Yes.
As council members, the city's not incurring any extra expense. They're going to pay the city. I understand that. But as a taxpayer, 303 is paying it, which we have to pay into 303.
Yes.
So I just wanted you to understand that we're looking at giving somebody $10,000 that maybe the city's not paying. I understand.
Right. And here's the issue is, so it's, to some extent, employment, it's an insurance policy, right? Because let's say the person quits at the, end of December, right? The ability to bring in, say, you probably have to bring in a consultant or trying to hire someone to run that for 6 months period of time would be, we kept figured in internally discussions, would be far and above this $10,000 to have to deal with that.
Okay.
So it's a hedge against that.
Yeah, I just wanted to figure out why and
Yes.
if the hours were looked at and that type of
Yeah.
thing, so that when when somebody asks me, I can give them an answer.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Nutter or Hills, I understand you both have questions. Mr. Hills first.
So I'm going to go back to a couple things that were mentioned under public input, and I know we just got a bit of an explanation from the city manager on that, but, I mean, the way I see this, those two individuals have been hired by the high school, and the high school has hired them to do certain work, and it's all revolved around that transition. So they're going to be doing this work during their regular hours, the way I understand this, Monday through Friday, getting a check by the city of Pekin. So they're going to get paid from the city of Pekin to do all that schoolwork, and then at the end of the year, they're going to get a stipend from the school district for doing that same work. And just as it was stated during public input, in my opinion, that's double dipping. Thank you.
Mr. Nutter,
Thank you.
or first of all, did staff want to come, okay, Mr. Nutter.
So the two employees, our city employees, have been hired by the school district with a start date of what?
I think it's August 1st of next year. I don't know.
So we're going to pay them through August 1st.
No, I don't, you asked me, your question
the
was,
question-
when's their start date at the high school? I'm going to answer, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's
So let's
after
say
our
we don't
contract
know.
expires.
So they're going to work on the transition plan for the high school on city dime, right? And then let's say the arbitrary date is August. Then what? They're transitioned out of the city. I'm not going to say fired, but they've chose to go elsewhere. So will they get vacation pay, holiday pay, sick pay? Are they going to get all the benefits they're entitled to when they transition out of this job to the school board or school
They would
district?
get the same thing as anybody who retired or left.
Well, my point is, and then we're going to give $10,000. I understand it's a wash. I get that. But just let the school district pay him. We can argue this.
No, I guess if I could add something to the conversation. So if they hadn't gotten the job with the school district, maybe the school district changes their mind and says, we rescind our offer, we, found somebody better, different, we just decided to go in a different direction, we're going to outsource it. We need to make sure that we fulfill the contract with the school districts.
And when does that contract end?
That goes through, I think it's July.
July of '26.
July of '26. And so that is the way that the intergovernmental also reads, is that they are, at the end of that contract, I just don't know off the top of my head, I think it's the end of July of '26. And it's the same rationale we had with the bus drivers. It's going to be really hard to bring somebody in with 3 months to go. And so it's very typical in the public, in the private sector, everywhere else, when you're winding down an operation, if you're closing a plant, if we have a manufacturing plant that's closing, you
I've
can't
been
have
through
everybody.
all that. I know
Yeah.
where you're going.
Right.
No
You
problem.
worked, where did you work? Right?
It's hard math. I can't figure it out.
No, right, so that was our intention to make sure, because we have a contractual obligation with the schools, that we have to make sure that they stay on, that we run the buses on time, or the trains on time, as it were. And so that's how that equation, that thought process at least worked.
Okay, thank you.
Give them a chance.
Ms. Hoheimer?
My thoughts on this, my daughter-in-law works at an insurance company in St. Louis, and she has a revolving door of employees, and she has to train them. That's not her job. Her job is not to train employees, but because they have such a turnover, she has to do her job and train employees. And yes, she receives a stipend for that because she puts in a tremendous amount of time to do 2 jobs. So that's the way I looked at this situation. They're doing 2 jobs. And I guarantee they're working more than 40 hours a week on this. My thoughts.
Mr. Abel, did you have something?
Like it was said, it's a wash, and it's a one-time thing. I don't see anything wrong or under the table about it. It's a
They are
wash, let
city
it go.
employees until then. Yes, Ms. Phillips.
So, basically, I'm just going to say, I think we should do this. I'm going to vote for it. What we've got is a situation where we've already told the bus drivers in the contract with the union that we and the school district agree that everyone benefits if we don't have a mass migration of employees right at the end.
Correct.
And we've decided that it's worth a certain amount of money to incentivize. It's not a stipend for work, it's not a reimbursement for hours, it's a reward for staying. If you stay, you get this extra bonus. If you leave, it's gone. And in terms of the District 303 and the City of Pekin being the same taxpayers, that's not entirely true. You know, the 303 goes outside this area.
You're 100% right.
But the city knows that we need to have the people around through the end of our term. The school agrees that they would like to make sure those people stay around because they don't want to pick it up after everything falls to crap when they leave 1 month before it's over. And, you know, for the amount of money involved and compared to the other members who are going to be involved, these people are on salary. So any work that they do for transition isn't costing us anything additional. And I just don't feel that we need to be concerned about this.
Well, I'm going to follow up with, can you only imagine what it would cost us to bring someone in for 3 months, 2 months, 1 month? It would cost us more than them staying and getting this bonus. Absolutely, hands down. Any other comments from council? Are we good? Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 4-3. Any other business to come before the council? Mr. Dossi
Thank you, Mayor.
and staff.
Real quick, just, let me get my notes here. Mr. McQuatts made me aware Chipotle is supposed to be opening on September 23rd. Marshall's September 25th. Ross has a tentative set of October 10th, and Josh does have one thing he wants to present.
Yeah, Mayor, I just wanted to make the public aware, there is a tax increment financing TIF joint review board meeting that's going to be held in the City Hall Council chambers on September 11th this week at 3 p.m. That is a meeting that is held after an annual audit for the city is done. There is basically a TIF audit, and then there is a TIF report that's created. The joint review board reviews that report before it is submitted to the state. So that's what that meeting is for.
Transparency. All right, thank you very much. Any other staff, Mr. Dossi?
No, Mayor.
Vasselli, Mr. Council?
I have nothing, Your Honor. We do, I believe it's proposed that we go into closed session tonight to discuss litigation matter.
Yeah. Well, I was going to let the council speak first.
I am so sorry,
No.
Mayor. I apologize.
No worries. I
Thank
just,
you. Sorry.
no problem. With nothing more from staff, never mind. I'll hold mine till the end. Mr. Hilst?
Nothing right now, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nutter. Don't you steal my thunder.
I know what your thunder is, and by golly, I'm going to do it.
Don't
So,
you steal my thunder.
I just want to give a big shout out to FFA.
Yeah.
They came
Yeah.
downtown for Taste of Pekin.
Yeah.
And those kids worked their you-know-what off. I thought they worked a lot on Wednesday, but then I saw them on Saturday and Sunday at the Rotary tent. and they really worked their you-know-what off. Kudos to those young men and women for what they did, because they took Saturday and Sunday and a Wednesday night, and it was absolutely fabulous. So thank you to Mr. Horowitz, the high school, the organization, fabulous. I'm going to leave my other comments, and I will address those to Mr. Dabrowski and Mr. Dawsey privately.
Thank you very much. Ms. Phillips?
Thank you to everyone who came and talked to us tonight. I know that the damage that's done to our soldiers is tragic. And I appreciate that you have had the loss of your son. The man who came back was not the boy you sent away. And I agree that the care of our veterans and the level of trauma that they come back with is overwhelming. And we all should be grateful to every one of them who goes over and puts their bodies and their minds at risk. So I want to acknowledge that. Thank you. Just came out.
People don't know the suicide rate of veterans and all the issues they came home with. And to me, it's Vietnam round two. When they came home, we did give them tickets at parades, you know.
Yeah.
We'll see if he's that nice to me when I say something next.
And I know that what you came here to talk about was the property. And I don't have any background on what the property code enforcement problem was. I heard you said it had to do with the corner lot, but I don't know what it was. And I know that it's really frustrating when you think you're using a property in accordance with, and then somebody shows up and goes, oh, here's a ticket. I know, I've been there.
Me too.
So I do appreciate that, and I know in the long run, we are looking at how we go about property code enforcement. There's a lot of things I'd like to see improved too. But in terms of, the specific fine and the specific problem, like I said, I've had the experience of being the property owner who goes, and addressing the law that is causing a problem is one thing. Throwing home rule into the discussion, to me, is basically throwing out the baby with the bathwater. And I just want to be on record that I think doing away with home rule is a horrible idea, personally.
Absolutely.
And, I'll be glad to ramble on for hours about that if you want. But tonight, I'm just leaving it at that. So we shouldn't throw out the baby with the bathwater. If there's a problem with the ordinance and it's something that we need to make adjustments for, then we certainly should look at that.
I agree. Thank you. Mr. Fletcher?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abel.
Just a good weekend for Pekin. It's nice to hear somebody else's perspective on their town. There were 2 class reunions in Pekin over the weekend. Some people had not been back for 5, 10, sometimes more years. Very complimentary how their city has changed.
Yeah.
And it's just different. They came from here, but so many things have changed, very positive, and it's good to hear that. I said I wish they'd stay around a little longer and keep talking.
I do too. Thank you.
Again, from Wednesday night, Taste of Pekin, right on through, great weekend, great weather. A little bit of rain Wednesday night, nobody melted. A lot of people stayed downtown, so food was great, and I think all the not-for-profits done a real good job of getting their budgets from selling the food and stuff.
Yeah,
So
it was great.
that's a
Thank
good
you.
thing.
Ms. Hoheimer?
Yes. Taste of Pekin was really good. All the food was really good. You had to stand in line for a while because there were a lot of people. But
Hundreds.
that just made me even more excited about Pekin because there were so many people from out of town. And in fact, we ran into a young lady right before we left because we had some tickets left over and it was raining and I was afraid I would melt. And so, the gentleman I was with suggested that we give the money or give the tickets to the girl that was standing there, and she said she had come in from out of town. And we both thanked her profusely for coming down to the Taste of Pekin. And she said, "Where's the lemon shake-up? I want to go get one." So it was nice to see so many people that weren't even from Pekin celebrating our city. So it was a wonderful weekend. The church service yesterday at the Stephen Skinner Pavilion was terrific and excellent weekend.
Yeah, it was.
Great Marigold Festival.
It was. Well, I'm going to kind of repeat a little bit of what was going on, what's gone on here, up here at the dais. I cannot thank our Chamber of Commerce for driving this Marigold Festival once again, but for every volunteer there was there. It was fabulous, starting out with, there was so many little things, I say little, but smaller things that led up to the Taste of Pekin. Taste of Pekin was wonderful, even though we got poured on. There was people that were singing, the acts, there was people that were singing, people tap dancing, people telling stories, young children telling stories. And you know what? They stood up there in the rain and they didn't miss a beat. It was absolutely wonderful, the time that they spent to practice what they did and then to pull it off in the pouring rain. And we even had a play-by-play weather. Terry Gambetti did the weather announcement that, we might have lightning, we might have to call you up, call it off, hope you have a place to go. It was so nice to see hundreds of people down there once again. But that was just the start. Here comes the Marigold weekend. The parade went off without a hitch. It was, I don't know that I've seen that big a crowd as far as people around in a long time. It was wonderful. The skiing ski show was wonderful. The pork chop stand was sold out. A lot of the vendors that were there, as far as churches that gave their time, the volunteers that gave their time, they sold out. That was amazing. There was, I'm sure, thousands of people that came through here. I spoke to a lot of people that were not from our city and loved what we do and come back every year. Actually had had the lady that did the book about Richard Greiner. I don't know if anybody remembers that young boy that was, what was he, 13 years old, maybe 14, he went missing in 72. Well, his sister wrote a book and she signed mine. I hope other people were able to speak to her a little bit. That was a tragedy for their family, and I'm sure still is to this day, something that you never get over. So Marigold leads into the city changing, and if people haven't seen the change in the last 2 years, I don't know where you've been. No, I stated I don't know that the city has grown, but things weren't working the way it was going. That wasn't because of home rule. It's not because of our city management form of government. It is because how things were operated. I feel not a good, true team was built. I think our city manager has helped us lead this city forward and grow the right way. We are bringing businesses into town. With businesses into town comes more revenue. That helps us bring in money the correct way, revenue the correct way. That is how you build a city. They just announced Chipotle and Marshall's and Ross. I can't tell you how many calls I get a day or how many times I get stopped on the street. When are they opening? Can't believe what you're doing. Keep up the good work. And it's not me. It is us. It is the city of Pekin. It is the staff. It is the people that live here that are proud to say they are from Pekin, Illinois. And I can't say that loud enough. Proud to be from Pekin, Illinois. And yes, I have been here 50 years, and it is my hometown now. Last but not least, it breaks my heart to say that someone has actually kind of criticized what I feel about servicemen and women. I have a family full of servicemen and women. My father was in the Navy, and I'm sure he'd come back scarred. My brother was in Vietnam and to this day suffers every day, and I could just cry about it, every day. He was one of the lucky ones that got to come back, but he suffers every day of his life. My brother just got back from Kuwait. He is in the Army still, and I still thank him every day for his service. My niece is in the Air Force, so no, Mr. Greer, I'm sorry, maybe they didn't all see the tragedy that your son has, and I apologize for what he had to go through. I don't even know half of the stuff my brother has gone through because he will never tell it all. So with that, I'm sitting up here shaking with goosebumps, but I hope everybody in this room can go home and say a prayer tonight for every veteran, every soldier that is in the service and fights for our freedom today, and has in the past and will in the future. Chair would now entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Madam Mayor, I move that we move into executive session 5 ILCS 120/2C, and we will return.
I need a second.
Second.
Oh, motion made by Ms. Hoheimer, second by Mr. Abel.
And I'm sorry about.
No worries.
prematurely Calling for that before, but the reasons were personnel and litigation?
I don't know that you read this here, Karen.
Oh, I'm so
Litigation.
sorry.
Yeah, she didn't turn the
It's
page
okay.
over, no worries.
It's my fault, Councilmember.
A litigation when an action.
Thank you.
Action against affecting or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or an administrative tribunal.
I did have motion made by Ms. Hoheimer, second by Mr. Abel. Are you still good with that after she read it all? Thank you.
Madam Mayor, Councilmember, I apologize. That does comply with the Open Meetings Act. Thank you, and I apologize again.
No worries. No, you got to keep us on the straight and narrow. We appreciate that. Council, take your vote, please. Motion passes 7-0. We are now in executive session at 6:40.
Can you give us an estimate? Is this a
That's awesome.
5-minute session?